A lot of people have been asking me how I managed to play on 29 accounts at the same time, so I just wanted to make a video explaining my setup. From a distance, this is what my setup looked like. I use 3 computers and 4 monitors, and yes, 3 separate mice and keyboards. Before you say anything, I know there's a lot of tools that allows you to use one mouse and a keyboard across multiple computers, but I personally prefer this method, and I'll explain why later. The first computer is this one on my right side, and it's an old system about 8 or 9 years old, which I bought when I moved into this place. Despite the age, it's been running incredible and still runs like a beast. However, it's not the most powerful of my computers, so I use it primarily from streaming and playing on my main account. This monitor right here is where I stream from. Everything you see on this monitor is what you see on my stream. To my right, I have my 49-inch curved monitor that I got recently when I upgraded my setup from a 2 PC setup to a 3 PC setup. I use this monitor for streaming tools like YouTube, chat, and Spotify. Since this PC is older and not as powerful, I don't run multiple accounts on it because streaming and gaming multiple accounts would make this laggy. I just play on my main account on this computer. The second PC is located behind my monitors. This computer is dedicated to running 16 accounts. It was built by my friend and I bought it for a good price when I realized I needed more power for additional accounts. It has a GTX 1080 with a 16 GB dual channel RAM, and it runs 16 accounts smoothly. Since these accounts only sit in the Warhub and Vindicta instance, there's not so much to render, unlike accounts running around in cities like Varrock. My third and newest computer is also the most powerful one. It runs 12 accounts farming frost dragons. The setup is mostly the way I want it, but there's still a few things I want to tweak. Setting up took longer than I expected, but I'm adjusting things over time. This system runs perfectly without any issues. It has an RTX 360 with a 32 GB RAM, and it handles multiple accounts effortlessly. It feels amazing. Now, about my choice to use separate mice and keyboard instead of a unified setup, yes, there's an option that lets you use single keyboard and mouse across multiple computers, such as a foot switch, keybind, or mouse hotkey that allows you to switching between the PCs, but I personally don't find them efficient. If I use a switch, I often find myself searching for my mouse after switching between PCs. If I set up drag across monitors, it would be too much movement from one end to another. So having a separate mice and keyboard lets me immediately pick up where I left off on each system. Since I've been using this method for years, I've gotten used to it, and it just works best for me. I didn't just start with 29 accounts overnight. I started with one PC and one account, then slowly expanded. After discovering I could AFK Vindicta, I created more accounts, first 3, then 10, then more. I used to stake a lot back in the days when the dual arena existed, and I was lucky enough to make a lot of GP. Instead of wasting it all, I invested it all into my alts, and now I have a self-sustaining alt farm, which I find really fun. This works for me because I want to progress on my main account in every aspect: rune score, boss log, and completing everything. Before my alt farm, I had to grind the GP on my main, but now my alt account generally make money, allowing me to focus entirely on progressing on my main. People often ask me if having an alt farm and transferring the GP to your main account is against the rules. The answer is no, as long as you follow the rules. Botting equal ban, real world trading equal ban, manipulating the high scores and boosting in minigames equal ban, playing multiple accounts legally is allowed. You can play as many accounts as you can manage. The key is to avoid unfair advantage, such as boosting on a rank in a minigame, like Barbarian Assault. Other than that, trading between your account is completely allowed. Before I wrap this up, I want to go through some of the most common questions and comments I see. Do you ever get confused managing so many accounts at once? Not really, since each PC have their specific job. One runs the main accounts, another runs 16 Vindy accounts, and the last one runs 12 Frost Dragon accounts. Everything has its place. How do you keep track of 29 accounts? I group my accounts by task. My Vindicta accounts are always in the same place. My Frost Dragon accounts do their thing, and my main is separated. I also use in-game timers and visual cues to stay on top of everything. Isn't it exhausting to play on so many accounts? Not really, because most of them are AFK friendly. Vindicte and Frost Dragon don't require consistent attention, so I manage everything without stressing. Couldn't Jetix think you're botting with so many accounts? They could, but I play manually, and everything I do is followed by the rules. If they ever check my activity, they'll see everything is legit. Do you use macros or keybinds to automate actions across multiple accounts? No, I play manually. Macros and automations would get you banned, so I just use sufficient setup to make managing my account easier. Alright, well, there might be more I can't really think of questions or things that you guys usually ask about, but that's pretty much everything about my setup, how I manage 29 accounts at once. I appreciate all the questions and the comments people sent my way, and I hope this video clears up how I do things. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer. If you found this interesting, make sure to like the video and subscribe if you want to see more of my setup, gameplay, or just in general RuneScape content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.